Going through a spiritual awakening process is so rewarding and obviously life-changing, but the integration part, coming out of the rabbit hole, I guess, is more of a journey than I feel like falling into it. And that's what I just want to talk about today, I guess, and what I just have to get off my chest. I don't know, sometimes this happens where I just get these bubbles of inspiration and just things that I need to share with you guys. And that's honestly why I created this YouTube channel. But the more that I learn, the more that I recognize that it's not always about learning. It's not always about seeking out information. And I talk a lot about balance on this channel. I talk a lot about, I don't know, if you're new to my channel, this probably isn't the video to start on, I guess. But anyways, you can look at my other videos if you want to know like where this has started, my journey has started. And I feel like a lot of what I've been recognizing, because I've had just such a freaking expedited journey with my awakening process, is that you get to a certain point where you like need to come out of the rabbit hole, not because of anything being bad about it, being in, you know, that philosophical state, but sometimes I feel like life can lose its purpose when you're so deep in the details, which is where I've kind of got myself into, like deep in the details of the unconscious and that kind of thing. And let me just say, I do have a very obsessive personality. Into astrology, I actually have my Pluto in Sagittarius, so that is extremely crucial information to know in one's birth chart. That can just go to show that I could be somebody that goes very deep down the rabbit hole and just becomes obsessed with it. And that's literally what has happened in my life in the past like couple years. And I finally have reached the point where I like want out of it. I want to, not like out of it, that sounds kind of bad, but I want to resubmerge myself more into what life was like, but not like how it was, but from the starting point of what I created. What I'm talking about is life after your spiritual awakening process is something that we really should talk about more, because when you are going through this journey, you're learning all of these new amazing things that change your life, change how you feel about everything, literally everything. I mean, my life will never be the same from what I've learned in the past few years. There just comes a point where you don't need to learn anymore. So let me just stop myself real quick and say that you will always be learning, and that's always a part of your process. There just needs to be more of a balance between learning and experiencing, and that's kind of what I'm figuring out. You need to just share. You need to be out in the world living and making mistakes, and that's kind of where I've been at lately. Being in the position that I'm so fortunate to be in right now in my life all stemmed from this like desire I had to go deeper and to ask these questions and to learn these universal laws and to just dive into metaphysics. And I don't regret it. It's been literally the most amazing time of my life. But you know, when you just expanded and you've learned and you've like hit your time at a certain place, honestly, when you know to move on, it's time to move on. And that's kind of where I've at right now. I feel like my moving on process is more so about getting myself out of the rabbit hole all the time, getting myself out of these like constant questions about complex thinking, and just more working with the things that I've already created. Honestly, don't know if this is making sense yet, so if you're lost, I'm sorry. I just feel like when you learn so many things about how the world works, in a way it just makes you want to be a hermit. You don't want to communicate with people. You'd rather literally just sit at home. And I know that's talked a lot about actually when it comes to spiritual awakening, is that whole process of kind of isolating yourself, and truly where I've gotten myself to be in the past years. And you know, a lot of people don't even get to this point in their life, and that's why I'm so thankful that I have the freedom that I do, like with my schedule and with my time and my energy. And I spent all of that time looking inward and looking and finding and seeking what I needed to fulfill me, and it was great. It's great information to have, and once you have it, it's like, yes. But the whole process of self-discovery and just your spiritual awakening process, there's a life after that that starts on that foundation that you created while you were underground. You know, like a seed being planted, you spread your roots first, you get kind of stable before you can really stem and sprout out of, you know, the ground. So that's where I have been for so long. I feel like I've been planning and just mastering my craft and just trying my best to figure out who I am and what I stand for and what I really want to do and what my purpose is. And the more that I found things that were my purpose, the more I was like confused about what my purpose would be, because I feel like it started out so vague. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to share messages with people, and I knew I had a unique viewpoint, a unique just stance on, honestly, the world. I know that I vowed for oneness, but like I said, in the same context, you know, the paradoxical, polarized state of everything in this world, there is the opposite side of that, which is individuality and expression. And that part of myself, being able to balance those and to really find what feels good to me, has been super crucial in the past however long. So starting off with this grand master idea, and then all of a sudden all these other little things kind of make you twist and turn and change your mind. And it's like, I don't know, when you're going down the path of a spiritual awakening, when you're just being blindly led by your own light in this dark new world that you've just been born into, like I said, I mean, like, if you've gone through a spiritual awakening, you just fucking know what I'm talking about. You are just in this dark state where you don't know your path, you don't know where to go, and then all of a sudden things just start lighting up, they start connecting, and you're finally forming this new life. But it's just so undercover, it's just so under the surface for so long that you kind of go a little crazy by the end of it. And that's kind of where I've been at lately, but also that is where the threshold is. That's where the integration part is kind of like time to happen. That's where things are starting to come together. And that's, like I've said, the threshold. Pressure builds at a threshold. That's what makes a threshold. So I guess when you're at that point in your spiritual awakening process where you feel like you've learned so much shit, you're just kind of like at your wit's end, just get to the point where you know that life outside of the rabbit hole is going to be more interesting than inside of it. You're like, okay, it's time for me to really truly start integrating and just kind of full on have faith and jump into my reality without holding back anymore. And honestly, that is the scariest part so far. Even when you get to the depths of your soul, even where you dig up all these nasty, horrible, traumatic emotions and events that you've had to go through and witness throughout your life, I mean, that doesn't even compare to getting at that threshold point where you realize that you need to jump now, like off the cliff, basically, into what could be all of what you've been waiting for. And that's what is a crazy, crazy, crazy part of the spiritual awakening process. Just know that this time in my life is extremely important, because when you go through things this intense and this pushy in a way, like the energy is pushy. That's the best way to describe it when you're at that point in your spiritual awakening process where it's like, okay, it's time for you to move on. It's time for you to get, like I said, get out of the rabbit hole, basically. That's the thing, when you dive so much into your subconscious and you dive so deep into your soul and you know yourself to the core, completely solid, like, I know who the fuck I am. I mean, at that point, there's nothing left for you to do other than show up and just fucking do your thing and be what you need to be in that moment. And that's honestly it. I mean, that's the scariest part of the spiritual awakening process, because you have to spend so much time being so low in just having nothing but faith that you have nothing but the option to build the confidence to just fight, just be a warrior and head right into the storm with the most assertiveness that you possibly can, because that's life. So yeah, I don't even know what the hell this was. I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity to be able to sit here and to communicate with people who understand me so much. Like, you guys don't even understand how much that means to me. So I don't even know, like, I don't even know how to end this. I said, if you're new to my channel, hi, sorry this is the video you started on, but if you liked it, I hope we can be friends, because this is probably a lower point in my channel. But what are you gonna do? Honestly, sometimes you just need to get it out. You need to share and express your authentic self. And that's what the fuck I'm here to do right now. So I wasn't even planning on uploading today, but this is it. So I promise I'm okay. There's nothing to be worried about, but back tomorrow for regularly scheduled content. And like I said, your support just means so much to me. So thank you again, but I'm gonna go. So I'll see you in a later video. Bye for now.